Paige, Berger, and the rest of the gang get into more trouble in 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank, Issue 2. What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. Right now, I want to do a quick review of 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank, Issue number 2. So, 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank, Issue number 1 was one of my surprise favorites a few weeks ago. The real big thing about it is that I really liked the way that it opened up. It was in this kind of like D&D style game, and then through the course of the actual storytelling that Matthew Rosenberg was putting out there, you got a really great impression of these characters and what their roles are. You know, you've got Walter, who's like a little science geek. You've got Stretch. I'm just gonna call him Stretch. You've got the tall, kind of almost reserved character. You've got Berger, who's kind of like the asshole of the group, and then you've got Paige, who's just badass. She's just a badass little 11-year-old girl. And this is a group that stumbles onto something. They run into conflict with a group of like neo-Nazi kind of criminal guys that know her father, and that's where the story kind of goes from there. So I get the feeling that Matthew Rosenberg is setting up something much bigger in the future, and I can't wait to see where it is and where it goes, but I like the way that he introduces these various storytelling elements and how he's developing the characters. Overall, with this issue, it makes it very clear that Paige is kind of like the primary character for this part of the story arc, and it would be interesting to see if he kind of diverts and goes to other people and, gives a different perspective, kind of treats it like that Pulp Fiction-y kind of situation where you've got different stories tying into one overall story arc, and then they all kind of meet in the middle with a final culmination of the story. But I'm not sure what Matt's, real strategy is. That's one of the interesting things about where it's going to go. But overall, it's a really fun kind of read if you want to kind of subvert the genre of, a child-based comic book. As for the art, I wouldn't say that the art style is distinct, but what I would say is that the art in this book complements the kind of storytelling that it is, because you don't necessarily have the most photorealistic kind of situations, you don't have the most stylized situations. Overall, it's very simple, and it's not necessarily oriented around the details. However, when there are details present, those details really lend themselves to how the story is being told. There's a couple liberties that are taken in various scenes, and there's a distinct scene where we're in the science lab and Walter's mixing up some chemicals, and his whole perspective and persona kind of changes, and there's this lovely little glints and sparkles inside his glasses as he gets really excited about what he talks about. So there's all this kind of cool little stuff that gets mixed in there. So it's something that I think really fits the story very well, even though it might not necessarily be something for everybody. Once we take a look at everything in 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank Issue 2, it's still a story that I would gladly recommend to anybody if they're looking for a laugh and a very easy-to-read kind of situation in a comic book that could potentially go into something much deeper, much darker, or much more fun. There's a lot of versatility in the way this cast and the writing is, so it's definitely something you should be picking up if possible. So that was my quick review on 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank Issue 2. But if you've read it, I want to hear what you have to say, so hit me up in the comments down below. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you want more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.